slightly off night. Rather than doing it on Wednesday, we switched to Thursday because we have all had interesting weeks in one form or another.
Hmm.
Matt is enjoying sunny Southern California, so he's off. Kevin is sleeping somewhere, I'm assuming.
Hmm.
So these Robbie, Zach, and I to kind of try to steward the show in and try to make it fun and interesting and learn something new and basically get the page clicks. That's what it's all about.
Hmm.
So let's see if we get to 5 live viewers this week. That'd be awesome. So let's jump into Penn State, which was both an awesome and terrible sight at the same time. The awesome was obviously the first half, where the Bulls, even before they took the lead, UB was looked confident in every single phase of the game, and that's what really got to me. Was there was nothing standing out that was glaringly bad. Buffalo had a turnover, but they also managed to force one. The defense was all over Penn State, and we not only kicked a field goal, but we nearly made another 49-yarder that was a reasonable wide right miss that broke my Buffalo heart, but otherwise just said it was a good 49-yard kick for a college kicker. Robbie jumped in just when UB had taken the lead. Hey, Robbie, so let's pop you in here. And so what did you see in the third quarter? let's you do the third quarter rundown.
That's a good. I don't know if I can really give the third quarter justice. I just know that we really fell apart after what seemed like a strong half. I can't say I was really impressed with our run game, despite how poorly the finish looked. I think both running backs had nearly 75 yards, so that's pretty good stuff from two running backs that are both sophomores at this point against a ranked team, and our passing game wasn't terrible either. That's about as good as you can get from a freshman quarterback against a Big Ten team that's ranked.
Yeah, and Zach, I mean, Myers, even he had some struggles, but even when he struggled, he seemed to bounce back really well. He made a few isolated freshman mistakes, but he didn't play the game like a freshman. Did you learn anything about him? We all had concerns about him in that atmosphere. What did you learn about our quarterback situation going forward for the year?
I think he's going to be like, I don't know. I don't want to overreact too much from one game, but I feel like he can be like an above average MAC quarterback, honestly. He looked really good on a lot of throws. His big mistake was the one interception that turned into a pick six, but I rewatched it like expecting to see that it was just like an awful throw. But I mean, honestly, the cornerback just made a good play jumping a route.
It was a bad throw. He should have thrown to the outside. What impressed me was it wasn't a bad read.
Yeah, so that's probably the better way to put it. Yeah, but I don't like there wasn't for given the stage of it. It wasn't. He looked pretty good, and a lot of credit I think should go to the offensive line too. Like only giving up one sack and really not having him feel too much pressure definitely helped him out. And having Antonio Nunn back like really helped him out. Like 113 yards against that Penn State team is really pretty good. Felt kind of like a breakout game for him. Like in the past, he's had like he would have like one. There was a few games where I feel like he had like one touchdown of like 50 yards, and you're just like, okay, can he become a wide receiver one? But I feel that he probably can based off of that. It feels like he has more to his game than just the occasional big play now that he's getting the chance to step up. So I think I feel a lot better about the passing game than I did after Robert Morris, which as a whole makes me feel a lot better about the ceiling of this team.
Yeah, we were talking amongst the editors here before we came on of who played the bad half, right? Did Penn State play the bad first half, or did UB play the bad second half? And where I'm kind of landing is if UB played the bad second half, I think this is a 7 or 8 win team. I think they can really do it with what they did in the first half. If Penn State played the bad first half, I kind of fall with you guys in saying I don't know that we really learned a whole heck of a lot other than I agree with you. I think this year above average MAC quarterback for Myers is probably a fair fair bar to set for him right now as a freshman, because he made a few freshman mistakes and the team made a few big play mistakes, but on the whole, the score should not have been that bad in the third quarter.
Mm-hmm.
Right? UB still moved the ball. There were a couple 3-and-outs, but they still managed to run the ball. The defense, other than giving up a couple of big plays, managed to make Penn State work for yards.
That's really how Penn State scored in the third quarter. It was a lot of big plays.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest concern the defense has right now is that we aren't giving ample enough coverage to prevent 28-yard passes from happening.
Yeah, but I also feel I need to look at the play-by-play again to realize exactly how all this happened. But I know there was one punt where we actually lost yardage after a short punt, a return, and a personal foul.
Penalty,
So it left them with like a short field. That it wasn't like Penn State was leading these long sustained drives. It's just like we have the better athletes than you, and I don't think that comes as a huge surprise, which is why I feel it's a little bit of column A and a little bit of column B. I don't think we played badly in the second half, but I think Penn State also kind of just looked themselves in the mirror and were just like, maybe we need to open up the offense a little bit more. I think they were a little bit conservative in the first half.
But Lefebvre got hurt as well. We lost Cowbell.
Mm-hmm.
And you're right. I think not just the athletic difference, but the depth difference probably started to track it. And Penn State played a different game offensively. I mean, they really kind of gave up on the run in the second half.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they paid it lip service, but I think that was a big difference. I think when they were trying to run the ball, our defense was shutting them down. I think they made some really great halftime adjustments. It came out in the second half with a somewhat different looking offense. And just by the time Buffalo adjusted to their adjustments, they had scored 21 points. Partially because, like you said, pick six, a short field on a bad punt, 2 or 3 bad plays against the top 10 teams can do that to you.
Mm-hmm. So I think, it's kind of a lame answer, but I think it was kind of like column A and column B. I don't think that we played terribly in the second half, but I think, and it was really only a few big plays too. I think we forced a couple 3-and-outs still in the second half and stuff like that, which I just don't think those will be as much of a problem in the MAC. Especially once we get to those midweek nighttime action games. It's going to be 40 degrees and ball's going to be slippery. We're not going to have Mike Glass or whoever the other MAC quarterbacks are, slinging 50-yard touchdowns to 5-star receivers.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely, I think, at the very least, Buffalo saw the best team they're going to see. And for 3 out of 4 quarters, they matched them. That third quarter was really unfortunate, and we'll get into some more of the unfortunate of that in a minute or two. But I finally we're at a place where I've seen UB lose games by the score before. I've been a fan a long time. We've both seen really lopsided score losses. I don't remember seeing a lopsided score loss like this where I walked out of it saying, you know what, they didn't play terrible.
You walked in feeling better than you walked out. At least I walked out feeling better than I felt walking.
I did.
I think the second half lead really helped that. It showed that they did have some fight in them and that they could contend with some really good teams. Definitely not maybe take down a ranked team because it just, like you said earlier, depth issues, especially on defense. But
and the 1 or 2 big mistakes. We are very still young at quarterback, and that did it. But yeah, Rob, you're right. I mean, it showed that we can stand toe to toe with a power team for a good long while. We don't have the explosiveness, and it only occurred to me just now a few minutes ago that we had lost Lefebvre in the second half, and that really hurt the offensive rhythm. Because Myers hasn't really had a chance to build that chemistry. I mean, how many plays did we see where none had a step or two and Myers just missed them? There was at least 2 plays like that in the game that were 6 points each. And Penn State was not missing those throws, and we were. That's a big part of it. overall, we got out. Unfortunately, we didn't get out of there healthy. That's the awful part. Is we mentioned the injury to Lefevre. We also, of course, lost Finnegan, and that's a big loss. Punters are a underappreciated commodity in football. Two, the cascade of personnel changes that has caused gives me real pause for special teams. We'll go on that when we're talking more about the upcoming opponent. But if you haven't been following, Finnegan had surgery. It went well. Someone said he had a rod placed in his leg to repair a compound fracture. He's back in Buffalo and should make a full recovery. I'm happy to hear he'll make a full recovery. I'm happy to hear people have been around him. Easily one of the best punters I've seen Buffalo have in a long time, so he's going to be missed. You guys have anything else you want to talk about for Penn State?
No, I don't think so. That probably more or less sums it up for me.
Yeah, I think like we said before we hopped on here was just there's not too much we can take away from this game just because, again, we faced one really bad opponent. We faced one really good opponent. And we're really shouldn't be any close to either of them talent-wise. So it's I think although there's definitely some positives we can take here, there's still a lot of unknowns.
Yeah, the Jekyll and Hyde nature of that game kind of was. I mean, if one or two of those big plays didn't happen and UB lost, but didn't completely fall apart in the third quarter, I'd feel really, really confident right now. I still feel pretty good about this being a 6 or 7 win team. I think we'll find out more against Liberty. News and notes, we just realized this morning. Robert Morris, to understand how little we learned from beating Robert Morris lost to a D2 team this past weekend by a score of 13-6.
So he gave up more points than a D2 team.
Yeah, you weren't on before I said that. I said that to Robbie. I was like, "There's a D2 team that held Robert Morris fewer points than us." Other notable news around play and players can profit off the likeness. Oh no, people are dropping off. Hey, are you guys on, or am I popping off?
I think you're the one.
I think it's you.
Getting scrambled.
Hey, Robbie?
I can hear you now, I think.
Yep.
Maybe not.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Honestly, the fact that we made it through like 5 weeks or whatever this is really without too much of these problems is pretty good. Did he just leave?
I hope not.
I guess I think he's gone. I think I heard something about the California bill about being able to profit off your likeness. I think that's where it is going.
I think that's where we were going with this. He was saying something about Robert Morris, I think too. But I mean, we could totally talk about that before he figures.
Yeah, I don't know where exactly. Okay, sure, we can talk about the California bill.
Problem is we can't see your face.
Oh yeah, true. It's stuck on you. That's all right.
Yeah.
Well, maybe one of us became the host. Maybe one of us can control this now. I don't think I can. Maybe you did since you joined first. I don't know.
I don't see anything.
Anywho, oh, there he is.
Oh, here we go.
I've been here. I think what happened is one of my children decided to make a microwave burrito or something, and they're teenagers, so they just do nothing but eat all the time. And we have this really great microwave, but what it does is completely render my Wi-Fi useless for like 2 minutes. So sorry about that.
That's crazy. Okay.
My kids, the turbo inverter microwaves mess with Wi-Fi. If you're shopping, just be aware of that. Really stinks considering our work from home.
Ethernet.
I know. I actually am running wire in my house. That's how bad it is.
Wow.
So no, what I was saying, I was just giving news. California, it'll be interesting to see how the NCAA handles that, because now you have one state in the union that can recruit players to say, oh, and by the way, you can do commercials. You know,
I'm glad it was
I think
California that stepped up first. If it was like Rhode Island or something, I don't know that they would have had much. The NCAA probably would have just said see ya, but there's enough schools in California. It makes it interesting.
you know, I've
mean,
I've learned since 2016 never to underestimate how fast things can implode. So
Sure.
we'll see. We'll see how it's handled.
One thing that I took away from that, though, was that I didn't realize that Satish Tripathi was on the board of governors for the NCAA, and he signed on the letter telling them to, or basically asking them to not pass this bill, which I thought feels pretty on brand for Satish. I don't know. I feel like he has a little bit of disdain for athletics, but that's a separate
I
story.
think that's one of those things. If you're on the board, you have to sign. You
I
know,
was looking at it. I don't know if they were all on, because I was like, I wonder if like just like every school has somebody, and I looked into it and they don't. But the list of governors that I found was like a lot bigger than the people on the site. Like maybe that was just like whoever was in the office that day or whatever. I don't know, but I thought it was interesting.
Let's face it, they had to do something to make USC competitive again.
Sure.
Yeah, that's been a struggle, hasn't it?
And USC has been like meh for so long. Now they can go out and recruit people and be like, and we can do commercials for Bob's Car Lot down the street.
They also in basketball, I know they did the old trick of like hired the top recruit's brother or something to be an assistant coach. I saw they did that earlier this year. So this is what USC has resorted to.
It's creative.
You remember who was the Central Michigan player whose father was a coach? It happened at Canisius too for a while with
Billy Barron. He was really good though.
Yeah. Daddy, we used to call him Daddy's Little Princess. That might have been before your time. There was
it was, but like I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, Central Michigan.
I've heard it plenty of times.
And he was good, and he went there only because his father was the coach. And when they fired his father, because even with him, Central Michigan was awful. He went to Pitt, and then he just sat on the bench at Pitt. And I laughed a little bit. Okay.
Yeah,
Our upcoming opponent land, we are playing Liberty. I want to give a shout out to the Bull Run community who has not at all engaged in anything outside of football talk. This is just purely football talk. Although I had no idea, I didn't know anything about Coach Freeze before this week. Like I don't follow Mississippi football, so I didn't realize what a complete and total dumpster fire occurred with him down there. I don't know if you guys are aware of that or not.
I remember hearing some stuff about him, but I haven't really looked into it.
The guy can coach.
Yeah, I remember when he got hired, and that was quite the debacle.
Yeah. I mean, he can coach. He can flat out coach. I worry about second half adjustments in this game because it's something where we have struggled. We saw it in the Dollar General Bowl. We saw it in the MAC Championship. We saw it against Penn State.
I think if there's anything to absolutely fault Lance Leipold so far in his tenure, it's halftime adjustments.
I think so too.
We've come out flat so many times, even especially during the 2-10 year.
Yeah, every coach has blind spots, and right now that's his, and he's got to work on that.
Yep.
But yeah, so I was reading and just some of the things happened down there. If you're not aware, I think the straw that broke the camel's back for him was that they reviewed the phone records, and his office had been calling an escort service.
I knew that part.
And the first time that came up, he said, it was a misdial. But they found that misdial several times in the phone directory. I don't know for sure it was his phone, but it was the football department. We'll put it that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was his business phone that was supplied to him. And that was just the dumber thing about it. Just like, use your own phone, man.
Go to Walmart, drop $50 to buy a burner. You're making SEC football money.
You don't even have to pay $50 for a little track phone. Like that, you can get like one of those brick phones for like $10 and get some minutes on it and call it good. Like,
well, but if you're going to call a lot, you might just want to get the $50 plan. Well, that and the fact that I heard the Baylor AD. Who knows? Maybe
Yeah.
maybe those guys are really like the fall guys for other things wrong at those schools, I guess. Or Liberty's going to be in for just a really awful time in like 6 or 7 years. We'll find out.
They're making a pitch to be the next Last Chance U on Netflix, except for it's with the front office personnel. That'd be fun, honestly.
Oh gosh, who was the Buffalo
would be
basketball coach
interesting.
before Witherspoon?
Uh,
Who? Oh gosh, it's killing me. I'm having such senior moments today. They should hire the UB basketball coach who left before Witherspoon. Really, just go the whole gamut. Who's still suing
Was that
the
Tim
state or
Cohane?
something? Yeah, that's it. Thank you. Yeah, they
Yeah.
should go hire Tim Cohane and just really just go. You know, if you're gonna do it, go for it.
No, just they should hire Binghamton's old coach that had
Oh,
like
Kevin
a
Broda.
Serbian player punch a guy, and then like they had to like bring him to the embassy and smuggle him out of the country, and then like some of the players were like dealing coke or something.
I lived in Binghamton, or like that's where I'm from, and like the wild thing was when that program fell apart, it wasn't like they were all in on one thing. Like they just went down the list, and like each person was committing a different crime. And you're like, how is this happening?
It was like top to bottom. There wasn't a person there.
There wasn't any
I
organization.
heard
They're just
their
like,
ball boy beat a crossing guard. No,
yeah. I remember one of the weirder ones was a guy stole condoms from a Walmart and like ran over an old lady that got like super injured on the way out the door.
You literally can't make that up.
Yeah.
Like,
I was gonna say it sounds like a South Park episode.
it really does.
I love our Sunni brothers. No, I don't. All right. So, okay. Outside of all that, let's talk Liberty football. They have a quarterback named Buckshot, which is awesome.
It's also his real middle name. Apparently, I thought it was
really. I've always seen it in quotes. So, is that really his middle name?
I guess it's from what I've seen. It's his. That's what like somebody from the UB athletic office tweeted today. I think, or I saw it somewhere like from a actual quiz.
His parents are either really, really cool or really, really cruel. I don't know. If they knew he was going to be a quarterback, they're awesome.
Sure.
Way to go, Buckshot's parents.
Speak it into existence.
Claim it, the universe will give it to you. Buckshot is, and this scared me about the Penn State because they beat us on big plays. This guy has the arm to do big plays. 2017, he threw 29 touchdown passes. Now, granted, they were an FCS team at that point. They were transitioning up. But 29 touchdown passes against 6 interceptions is no joke. Last year, I think he threw 21 touchdown passes. They beat Troy last year. I didn't realize that till today.
Troy's a good football program.
Yeah, Troy beat us last year.
Yep.
They beat Troy pretty decently last year, and a lot of it was on his arm.
They beat Baylor as an FCS program 2 years ago too.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that's right. They canceled classes after that.
Yeah.
The day after because it was such a big win.
Turner Gill.
That was Gill's win. That's right.
That's right.
Yeah, I worry about that because our secondary has seemed vulnerable to the big plays against Penn State. Obviously, even Baylor. Not even Baylor. Even Robert Morris, which is the exact opposite of Baylor, managed to throw the ball pretty decently on us from time to time. So I know we can apply pressure because both their prior opponents have really made life kind of hell for their quarterback. He was sacked 7 times for minus 50 yards against Syracuse. And I think he was sacked 3 times. But I talked to a Sea of Red, which is a Liberty blog, and they said the 3 times against Louisiana doesn't tell the whole picture. He was running for his life half the day. So the defensive front should be able to put pressure on him, but the question is, can our secondary buckle down on their receivers and make them try to run the ball? And I think that's kind of going to be the key to the game.
Yeah, they have their quarterback and they really have like a big three, a good running back and
Yeah.
a good receiver. They each had 1,000 yards from scrimmage last year. That'll be the key. I don't know that they have too much of a threat on the outside other than Antonio Gandy Golden. What a name.
That school beats us in the name game. They
Yeah,
do.
sure.
Hey,
but
we have Jeremiah Riordan, so
sure.
Reardon.
Riordan,
Not
sorry.
Riordan.
I'm
Reardon.
sorry, I have 2 beers in.
I take that personal. Gosh, Robbie, how long have you known me?
No, I knew that was slip of tongue.
All right. Anyways, go on. We were actually getting proper football analysis from Zach, and we decided to.
I was just saying, I don't know if they have. They had another receiver that had like 600-ish yards last season, but looks like they have a few other options. But I don't know. Maybe if they key in on Antonio Gandy Golden, he won't be too much of a problem. I think the front seven is a big strength. Based on Penn State, we had like 3 sacks and a handful of tackles for a loss. So I think we can probably contain their run game and put pressure on the quarterback. It's really just if they can shut their one big receiver down. So yeah, I guess it's a concern, the big play, but we'll see. I'm hopeful that they can contain it enough that it won't become a major problem.
Yeah, I mean, I just look at like the NIU game and the Troy game and the Penn State game and think like if we don't jump out early and start like blowing them away, and it's close in the second half, that they actually have a scheme that can work on us.
Mm-hmm.
If they were a ground and pound team, I think I wouldn't be as worried. And you're right, they do have a good running game, but they really don't prefer to lean that way. They have a 1,000-yard rusher. But they didn't have much after that. We had a 1,000-yard rusher and a 900-yard rusher and a 500-yard rusher, and I think UB will be able to run very well. Louisiana put up 400 yards on them on the ground.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we should be able to like own the time of possession, pound it out, deny them the chance to be explosive. But I've been, and you guys know this, I've been very tentative on this team secondary all year, and not all year, for the past couple of years.
Mm-hmm.
We've had individually talented players, but as a unit, they've not been dominating.
Yeah, that it's a concern, but admittedly, I'm not terribly familiar with Louisiana Lafayette or Syracuse. I know Syracuse has a pretty good defense, but I mean, they've only put up 14 total points this season. So while I have some concerns, it's just whether or not they're even able to, like, if we were to concede the big play, it's just like, are they even able to connect on that big play, because it seems like they haven't so far this year, or otherwise you would think they'd have a little bit more scoring output so far.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. Maybe it'll just be as you were saying about Matt Myers, like maybe there'll be a guy, our secondary blows it and leaves a guy open, but they still have to make that pass and make that catch. So we'll see.
Yeah, apparently RMA over on Bull Run asked if a feral cat was eating my freshly laid Ethernet cable. It's always possible. I always worry about the presence of a feral cat anywhere on my property. Obviously, if you're one of the 2 live people we have, or any of the many people that watch us later, you know why I am afraid of feral cats. No, I'll walk home and my 3-year-old will be out in front petting some strange cat. I'll be like, "Get away!" She looks at me like, "Dad, just relax. It's a cat."
Can never be too safe.
I do not want to go to the emergency room with another golf ball sized ball of blood under my skin. I had no clue cats could do that kind of thing.
They're ferocious. They can be.
They are the second most aggressive species in the world, next to the Canadian goose.
I'm not even kidding. The stains of blood are still on my garage floor.
That's
5
crazy.
years later.
No, you're right. You're right. Your wife told me that they are.
Yeah, they're still there.
Like,
You can see. Yeah, during the summer when my cars are not in the garage, you can see there's still like splotches where I was sitting on an egg crate or on a milk crate while like the EMTs were trying to stop the bleeding.
Yuck.
Oh, it was looking back, it was awesome. I'm glad it happened in retrospect.
Character builder.
Because I now know the fear of feral cats. So we've talked about Liberty in the offense. On the defense, I just really want to see UBT off and get a bunch of sacks. Like not like I don't want to see that every week, but I think like Liberty is a real chance for that front seven to kind of establish itself before we hit Temple, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we get through Liberty and Temple, we're going to know a lot more about this team, right? We're going to know if this is a team that's going to go to a bowl, a team that might be able to push Ohio and Miami of Ohio for a MAC East title, or if this is going to be the 2009 edition of Buffalo that finishes 5-7 after a strong season.
Yeah, I'm pretty confident. I like our front seven. Malcolm Kuntz, but Darius Mack looks good as a pass rusher. He comes in on a lot of pass rushing downs. I think every time I see him play, I just think it's crazy we didn't offer him a scholarship to begin with. But I think
that was a mess.
That was.
I got called in the SID office for that article.
Handled that worse than the halftime adjustments at Penn State.
That was his one good halftime adjustment. He didn't in the first half. He didn't want to offer a scholarship. Second half, Khalil Mack came and yelled at him. Got him a scholarship. But yeah, I like our front seven, and I was really encouraged by the Penn State game. I think, especially given the troubles that Liberty has had, I think they've averaged like 2 yards per carry on the ground so far this year. So even in the rushing game, I imagine we'll be in their backfield a lot.
Yeah, but that's kind of skewed by the fact they've given up 10 sacks in 2 games.
Yeah, that's fair.
Like minus 70 yards of sacks so far this year.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, minus 65 right here on Stephen Coward.
Yeah, I was just guessing. I knew it was minus 50-something against Syracuse.
Let's do some math here. I'll try and figure it out. But yeah, either way, not good. I mean, if it's the sacks, I don't know if that makes it really any better.
If I remember right, they ran halfway decently against Syracuse. It was like 70 yards or something of running in the teens attempt. It wasn't great. But yeah, their quarterback Syracuse basically set up camp. A little campfire, made some s'mores in the backfield, and just knocked him down all day long. And then Syracuse goes and gets exposed by Maryland, right? So you're thinking, all right, number 24 Syracuse, they're going to do something, but Maryland destroyed Syracuse last weekend. How often have you had to say Maryland destroyed it?
Yeah, that was a surprising result. That was going on when we were driving down to Penn State, and Kevin was giving me the updates. I was pretty surprised by that. I don't know if that means that Syracuse is bad or Maryland's actually a good football program now. Maybe a little bit of both, but that was a surprising result for sure.
So Merrimack has a question. Julian Bororosa, he should get a temporary nickname until Cowbell returns. I don't think it should be temporary, but I'm open to nickname suggestions in the comments, or hit me up on Twitter tomorrow. We're always up for a good nickname suggestion. Remember, Matt created not only the Kraken for Javon McCray, he created CJ Buckets. Bull Run has a long, proud tradition of creating nicknames for UB players that later on get adopted by the media, and no credit whatsoever is given.
I know he is from the French-speaking part of Canada, so maybe we can get creative with something with that. Because I think he speaks Canadian or something like, or Canadian, French. Ignore that part.
Yeah.
We're gonna bleep that part of the podcast out. We don't want people to hear that.
It's 11 at night. I'll give you a pass.
That's okay. We're speaking American. They can't understand us.
I took a second to think about that. Oof.
It's called Bulls and Beers for a reason, people.
Tim, that's what was happening. I was speaking Canadian when I pronounced Riordan.
Yeah. The Canadian pronunciation.
No, you were speaking every teacher I've ever had.
Oh,
So it's
My
no one
daughter's
can
not
spell my
complaining
name
about
right
that.
anyway, so it's fine.
What,
I
Robbie
feel that. Yeah,
Johnson?
they can't spell my first name right.
Life
probably
is so
with the Y or the IE that can get you. People always guess K with the for Zach too, which is weird to me because I have not met too many Zachs with a K. But everybody's assumption is that it's with a K, which is interesting.
I also get Robert a lot.
Does
Formal.
Robert bother you?
When I've never. That's not my name.
Oh, it's not.
No,
It's just Robbie.
it's just Robbie.
Damn.
Honestly,
I've never
Robbie, I
gone
didn't
by
know that.
Robert.
I never.
Yeah.
I just always assumed it was Robert. My full name's Timothy. Just full disclosure.
Yeah,
I
mine's
knew it that
Zachary.
much. Yeah.
This is what the people want. Does everybody want to go around and share their middle names now?
No,
Mine's Buckshot.
really, mine's Scattershot. Nice to meet you.
Do you have an ammunition-related name, Robbie?
Silencer. He speaks
Paintball.
I
Canadian.
can't.
He speaks Canadian is Bororos's new nickname. I don't think he'd like that.
Just the Canadian.
Yeah,
Can
but
I
now
go,
I know
can
who's
I go
watching
with
live.
Shotgun as my nickname? As
Shotgun.
my middle name? Robbie
Sure.
Shotgun Johnson.
If we want it looks like it's sonnet or something. Means is cowbell in French. He can be the French
There you go.
Zach
Oh.
Cowbell Lefebvre.
All right, well, let's see how that works. That could work. I like where that's going. I think it's better than he speaks Canadian. We recruit pretty heavily in Canada. I don't want to poke any fences.
True.
La Sonella.
Yeah, last sonnet.
Yeah, it was up that way this summer. I drove up to Canada. I did not like the highway system. But
I don't like driving there in general. I get stressed out about my speed. Can never figure it out.
no, it wasn't. I crossed in Michigan, right? So I crossed up on the Upper Peninsula. And what I
Trans-Canadian
didn't like-
Highway then, right?
Yeah, what I didn't like is their Trans-Canadian Highway.
It's just two
It's like a-
lanes.
It's like a county road in Minnesota, and Minnesota's not metropolitan. So I'm driving this huge Suburban that I'm not used to driving, and I'm taking up like a lane and a half on a 2-lane Canadian highway, and the whole time like just terrified. All right, we have successfully managed to eat through 37 minutes without the face, which is Matt's nickname from way back when.
The face.
I think Dave Brand gave him that nickname, if I don't remember right. He's not here, so if he doesn't like
That's
it, he
a
doesn't
very
get it.
Dave Brand-esque nickname to give.
It
I
really
wasn't-
is. Miss you, Dave.
I wasn't sure if he just called him that because I think he's the only person in the Slack chat with a picture of his face and his profile picture. I thought that was the origin
No,
of the
no,
name.
no. It's because compared to at the time, I think it was me, Conrad, and Matt. And Matt was definitely the young, good-looking guy. The rest of us were showing our age. This was all brown at one point, not gray. And it was like 5 years ago. Warning, guys. All right, let's. I'm gonna skip around the MAC around the MAC in the NCAA because honestly, I did the MAC power rankings this week, but I don't remember them. I watched the game. I watched Kent. Kent was fun to watch. I don't know if you guys caught that at all. They nearly got bodied by an FCS team.
You know what? They deserve it.
I'll say
After
this,
that debacle that was canceling that field hockey game
Oh,
for
that's
their little
right.
poofs of fireworks. They
I
deserved it.
know. I heard. Well, at first, I misunderstood 3 times, and it got worse every time.
Yeah,
right? The first time
it
was
wasn't
like,
even a Kent State game they canceled.
oh no, it was.
So
it
they
was
forced.
no, it was a field hockey game. It was a Kent State women's
Yeah,
field
yep.
hockey team.
No,
So
but
it was like-
Kent State women's field hockey didn't play in that game. They were hosting Maine
This
and
is the
Temple
4th iteration
field
of this story, and it gets worse.
They
every
were
time.
hosting Maine and Temple field hockey.
Oh,
So I
God.
guess it was like a tournament type of deal. And
God.
then they
Who
canceled
called
the
no
game.
contest.
Kent State, because it was their field.
Good administration.
The administration walked out onto the field and said, "No, we're done because we got to do football fireworks in an hour."
All right, so now I got to do this. Now I got to do this whole thing because now this is the 4th iteration. All right, bear with me, Bull Run-Ons. We will get the show in under 15 minutes, but I need 3 minutes of your time here. Here's how it went if you weren't paying attention. A tweet goes out that Kent State had to cancel a women's field hockey match for football. Instantly, everyone's laughing at Kent State for scheduling football and field hockey at the same time on the same field. No, not scheduled at the same time on the same field. Turns out they had to cancel the women's field hockey because of a fireworks show. So you're thinking, okay, well, big fireworks show, first home game. Go on Twitter, find the video of the fireworks show. It was pathetic.
Just like 5 little poofs.
Go down to your local Tops Market or Wegmans around the. Can you buy fireworks in grocery stores in New York State?
Yeah, you can.
Not the good
But
ones,
but yeah, not the good ones. Okay,
Yeah.
I remember. So it's not changed so much. But you go to Pennsylvania to buy the good ones. Here you go to Wisconsin.
yeah, that's what I did this summer.
In Minnesota or in New York State, you go to your grocery store and you buy those $50 packs of crap fireworks. Right. I buy them because I got a 3-year-old who wants to light stuff, and I'm gonna let her light something that's gonna be that. Because honestly, I could hold that in my hand and survive. It's no worse than a feral cat bite. So, that's pretty much what Kent State blew off for their fireworks. Like the football team came out, and it was like 20 little pops in the air, pop, 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 end of the fireworks. So now they've canceled a women's field hockey game for a $59 fireworks show. Right? Rather than just not do the fireworks when their team came out.
Or they needed they kicked them off at like an hour before the game started. There's no way that took an hour to set up.
I'm guessing there's some kind of legal regulation around that kind of stuff. Having worked around fireworks at points in my life, I'm going to give them a mulligan on that. They should have just said no.
But they should have just been like, no fireworks.
Exactly. They should have just said no. So now Kent goes and plays who they play. They're playing Kennesaw State. Am I saying it right?
Mhm.
Kennesaw.
I think that's the correct way.
Okay. Kennesaw State runs a triple option. And honestly, for an FCS team, a really tight triple option. I was impressed. And they led a good portion of the game. Game goes to double overtime, and Kent wins on a field goal in double overtime. I didn't know whether to root for them or against them at that point because I hate watching a team in my conference lose to an FCS team. Just from a image perspective. And now it turns out it wasn't even they went out there and it wasn't even a Kent women's field hockey game they canceled. It was someone else's. Oh, Kent, you are the Grinch. You're the Grinch.
There was another part. The athletic trainer or something for Kent State was going after main field hockey players on Twitter for calling them out about it. He was like, you expect me not to defend my
the whole situation was just a PR nightmare from the start, and then it got worse and worse and worse.
How do you know it's Kent State athletics? They turned field hockey into a major Twitter embarrassment. I mean, that takes work. I'm not talking down to
hard.
Look, my kids run cross country. I love cross country, but it is not a sport that bubbles up a lot of passion on the internet, nor is field hockey.
Yeah.
Right? People who love it, but it's a very small segment. If you can turn field hockey into an embarrassment for your department, and not even your field hockey team, you can turn someone else's field hockey into an embarrassment for your department, you are so trying. We have found out what happened to the equipment truck driver at Kent. They got transferred and promoted to the new job of scheduling crap for events for games.
Well, I'm sure the pleasure that the football crowd got out of seeing those fireworks was worth it all. So,
I wish I could pull up a video of the Kent State fireworks just to show you guys how I'm not exaggerating when I say it's like a $59 display from Cub. There were probably like little black snakes on the grass all around where those went off. All right. I did promise to get this in under 50 minutes, and it is 44 minutes into the show. So we're going to jump ahead to predictions. I'm sorry, Liberty, I probably did not give you guys just coverage of your football team. Like you guys, like Buffalo, it's hard to know too much about you at this point. You played Syracuse, that was a ranked team, and you play Louisiana, who just completely bodied you. And if you are the team that got ragdolled by Louisiana, that's who you are. If you had a bad day, I guess we'll find out this Saturday.
One note on that quickly. It's also I don't think we mentioned that their coach is like, I don't know if he's ill. I think he has like an infection in his back or something. I don't know what his involvement with the team is right now. So that's a question mark. But he coached from a hospital bed in the press box the first game, and then from a dentist chair.
Thank you for bringing that up.
Second game.
Yeah, thank you for, and that is a mitigating factor. I meant to mention that on post today, and thank you for bringing it up more. They've had a lot of issues with their coach not being on the sideline for 2 games, and that's going to be hellish. So who knows? He's going to be on the field. I heard he's going to be back. He's going to be there. That can make all the difference to have your coach actually live watching the game instead of using Google Hangouts to coach.
You mean StreamYard?
It's true. Well, no, StreamYard, they might have actually stopped a few of those runs against Louisiana. RMA has a question. It was a noon game. Why the heck were there fireworks? That's what we were just saying. And they weren't the kind that go pretty pictures either. They were literally like the ones that they put up to pop just before they do the grand finale at real fireworks shows. All right, predictions. Robbie, you're up.
I'm feeling better now that we led a half against a ranked team. I was not that optimistic going into this season. I think I actually had Liberty losing this game in the preseason. So I'm going to go Buffalo 24, Liberty 17.
All right, Zach.
I'm going to go 34-21. I need to think about. I don't know if I have much of a comment on that one. I've went from incorporating a missed extra point into my predictions to now incorporating 2 field goals. So that's how I get my 34. That's what the kicking game has done for me this year.
How many Van Trees punting yards though?
Oh gosh,
it's a great time to be alive.
I don't know, man.
That second punt was pretty good. Van Trees can punt.
No. I'm sure the first one was a lot of nerves. Like, you're not expecting to punt, and then you have to go do it in front of Penn State or whatever. Yeah, I think it'll be okay. I'm excited to see something happen on the punts. Like, we got too many quarterbacks playing different positions now for something not to happen.
Were you the one who put up the tweet about how the quarterback battle was between Matt Myers, our power forward, and
our punter?
Our punter.
and I didn't give Myers a shot in heck. Like, I really thought Myers was – I thought Myers would eventually play for Buffalo, but I thought this year was going to be Van Treese or Johnson. I leaned towards Van Treese. And, again, now we have a punter, a receiver, and holder, and a quarterback, and no one's who we expected. It's like Loki is running the team. So I'm going to – I always reserve the right to change my picks via comments on the Brewpeg post. I'm going to say for now I'm leaning towards Buffalo – 31 and Liberty, I'm going to say 17. I am very worried about the field goal game, not because of the kicker, but because we now have to get new. We have Reardon snapping to Johnson for the first time ever, and it'll either go well or it won't.
I think he was listed as the second holder in the 2 deep, so I imagine that
I've never seen a second holder on the 2 deep.
I thought that he was listed as a.
He might have. There might have been one you saw in the press box, but the one that gets printed on the site every week, which is about as useful as a feral cat, that one never lists a second holder.
Okay, I'm not sure where it was, but I think I saw somewhere that implied that he had.
It's probably the press box. They give nicer stuff in the press box.
Yeah, so maybe that's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
All right. 3 things Tim learned. I got less than a minute here. Well, one, I learned Kent State can move women's field hockey for literally anyone. I learned that Buckshot is actually a middle name. That's pretty cool. And I learned feral cat jokes never get old. All right, that's my 3 things I learned. We are at just about 50 minutes. And someone is typing up a storm.
Yeah, I need to figure something out. got a mechanical keyboard and it goes clickety clack, and my mic's too sensitive. I need to figure something out about that.
That's fine. It's fine. No one's paying us for this.
Yeah.
Unless you want to, reach out to me. We'll talk.
Well, when I do my where to watch and stuff tomorrow, I'll put the ESPN Plus sign up link again. Sign up there.
Oh yeah. Sign up an ESPN Plus. $3 gets put in the tip jar. The link will be out there tomorrow. All right, guys. Have a nice night. If you've been drinking with us, don't drive. If you've not been drinking with us, just drive safe. If you've been drinking, drive safe. That's going to get captured somewhere. All right. Talk to you later, and keep an eye on Bull Run. Go Bulls.
Bulls.